Hi everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. This coming Shabbat we are completing in the book of Numbers. And last week Parasha we didn't have a chance to speak about Parashat Pinchas. So I would like shortly to mention that in Parashat Pinchas obviously it's connecting us to healing powers. But towards the end of the parasha, there is something interesting that continues and enters into this week parasha as well. And this is the inheritance and the having a property in the land of Israel. In that time in the desert, 5 daughters of a person named Tzlofchad were coming to Moses, and this is at the end of last parasha. They were coming to Moses and asking him, what about the inheritance that our father is entitled to receive in the land of Israel? Their father died in the desert, and the father had just daughters. Usually the inheritance and receiving a place in the land of Israel was according to the males, from father to son. So not having sons, then what about the inheritance? They demanded their inheritance, and Moses is asking God what to do in that, and the message and the answer that he is receiving, they are totally correct, and therefore they should receive the inheritance of their father. So the question is, what they were looking for? Did they look for the physical part of the property, which means like to be richer, to have a place in the land of Israel, like to have a house and some land, or did they ask for the spiritual part of having a place in the land of Israel? So we need to understand what the land of Israel is about, and this is what's connecting us to this week parasha as well, matot and masae, which is the continuation of sharing and giving part in the land to some of the tribes. The idea is that one of the Kabbalists, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, that was in Italy around 300 years ago, with these, among the friends that were there was a Kabbalist named Rabbi Moshe David Valley. And he said something like that the land of Israel is on the level of the Iran pin, the level of the tree of life, the level which is above the physical material, corporeal world. It is above what the other countries are from the point of view of energy. Which means he's saying the land of Israel, Israel, in Hebrew, it's you can compose from this word Israel 2 words, li rosh. To me is the head, and it's considered that the head to all the countries is the land of Israel, which means it's a land which in a higher level of consciousness, the Iran pin. This is why, in fact, while coming out of Egypt, we needed to go in the desert through a process of 42 places being in the desert. And this is the traveling in the desert, which associated with the last portion of Numbers, masae. They were traveling 42 places. 42 in Kabbalah is associated with a special meditation, which is the Ana Bekoach. The Ana Bekoach, a prayer of 7 lines, that each line has 6 words, and 6 times 7 is 42. And that special prayer, according to the Kabbalistic books, is a special prayer to elevate us from the level of reality of the material world, of Malchut, kingdom, into a higher spiritual reality, which is Ziranpin, the tree of life. This is the purpose of that prayer, to elevate from one level to a higher level. This is the energy of that prayer, the secret of that prayer. Now, that process, the entire population of Israel had to go through in order to be ready to enter to the land of Israel. So therefore, 42 places in the desert before entering to the land of Israel to that higher level. Now I'm going back to what I started before. I didn't forget that idea about the daughters of Tzlofchad. Why they wanted a peace in the land? Because having a peace in the land means that you have a channel of energy that is associated with the tree of life. This is why, in a not usual way, high percentage of people that live here in Israel have the feeling from within that they should have a certain piece of property that belongs to them. Many people prefer not to rent, unless if they don't have any choice. Many people prefer not to rent, they prefer to buy and to own their piece of property. And the reason is not just the physical part of it, the money part of it, the business part of it, it's the energy part of it. Because you have a certain place, means the place is channeling energy to you. This is what the land of Israel is about. This is why it's important to have a piece in the land of Israel, to have something, a property in the land of Israel, because we are connected, you have a channel to connect to that energy. So this is what the daughters of Tzlofchad were asking for. A practical message from that we get is that inheritance is something which is important. It's not just physical, it's not just money, it's something beyond that. And many times we find that by mistake or not by mistake, there are problems around inheritance. And the problem many times will be result of parents that did not take care in time to prepare the will in a balanced way, in a proper way that will prevent the children from getting into arguments. This is why it's important to solve it to begin with, before the problem starts. In the case of the daughter of Tzlofchad, they went to Moses. Moses had whom to ask. He's asking God, and he's going according to that way. They did not go through a court of several years, with lawyers and all of that, to find what is right and what is wrong and what is the decision. It was boom, tick-tock. But in our days, it's not like that. We don't have a person like Moses that we can go and we ask and we do according to what he says right away. It's a process of court cases among people. And many times it's taking apart families just because of arguing for property and money. This is why a proper message from that is to take care of the will in time and not to leave it in the hands of destiny to take care of it, and then many times it causes arguments and problems in many families. So this is one message. The other message is associated with what we said, the 42 levels and 42 places in the desert that associated with the meditation of Ana Bekoach. And the Baal Shem Tov is saying it, Rabbi Isaac Luria wrote it in his books, the writings of the Ari, that each one of us is going through such a process in his life. The first place that we start from is birth, and the last stop would be death. And altogether we have 42 steps, 42 stations, major stations in our life. Each one goes through 42 major stations in their life in order to elevate from physical reality into a higher realm. And this is the process that we go through in this world. And in our time, we have that beautiful special meditation, Ana Bekoach. Those of you that understand and know it, it's important to say that this meditation every day, daily, to say the meditation, and to connect with that energy that it provides for us and helping our soul and consciousness to elevate from a lower level to a higher one. This is the Ana Bekoach, and this is the traveling in the desert. Another important point there is in this parasha, in Parashat Matot, starts with the power of the mouth, the power of vows. And we know that it's a very powerful channel. A vow in Hebrew is neder. And Rabbi Chaim David Vali is saying, Rabbi Moshe David Vali is saying that neder starts with a nun. That nun represents the 50 gates of understanding, the spiritual realm, which is through which all the blessing is coming to this world. And the dar means lives, exists over here. Which says neder brings the high level of consciousness of Bina into our reality. Which means if someone says a vow, it draws energy from the higher realms into this reality in order to give him the energy, or to give her the energy to do what the vow is about. Now, if the person is drawing that energy and is not fulfilling the vow, that high energy that he drew will turn backwards against him or her, and therefore the person can be hurt by his own vow. This is why it's recommended in general not to promise and not to say vows and not to take vows. because it can backfire on the person if he's not fulfilling the vow. And sometimes as human beings, we promise things and we forget. This is why before Rosh Hashanah we should nullify all our vows, and we should accept upon ourselves that even if we say a vow to the future, and then it's considered like by mistake that we said it, and it's nullified to begin with. Because the energy of the mouth is very important. Now, if I'll take it to a practical level, the energy of the mouth, what that we do usually with the mouth is talking. But talking is creating reality. Now, when someone is praying, he's building worlds according to the Kabbalah. He's creating a new reality. Now, when we talk, we do that as well, because with words, this universe was created. With letters, this world was created. So, therefore, if we create things in reality with our mouth, we need to be very careful the way that we talk. Now, many times it's just natural to us because it's easier to connect with negativity, it's easier to connect with judgment, it's easier to connect with judging others. Then it's easy for us to go into the level of criticism instead of giving a good feedback to a person. Instead of talking positive, we talk judgmental. We give criticism. The idea is that if we want our reality to be better, when enough people will stop giving criticism one to another, because anyway it doesn't help, the criticism. When we tell other people that they are not okay, usually the immediate reaction is we close. No one of us like to hear criticism. So therefore, if we want to help one another to develop and we want to help ourselves to develop, we should stop and take down that channel, that way of being critical and being with criticism to all the world around us, and especially to the close ones to us. We are giving to them criticism. And we should turn into positivity, to channel and to say and to give positive words and affirmations and all the positive stuff. To think positive on other people and to talk positive to other people. Versus thinking judgmental and talking criticism. We need to think positive and to talk positive and to channel positive. Then our environment eventually will be a better environment because our words are creating the reality. So this is with the portion of matot, this is what it starts with, the energy of vows and the power of the mouth, really. That mouth determine reality, create reality. In Judaism, this is very powerful, because if someone's saying, I'm taking a vow upon myself, this thing that is not allowed to me. Even though that usually this is something that is allowed to use or to eat or whatever, the person is taking a vow that this is not allowed, from that moment and on, it's not allowed to the person. He created a different reality with his mouth. So therefore, my suggestion is that for the next week, for 1 week, try to make an effort not to talk and not to think anything negative on other people without criticism. If you want to say something, say it in a positive way, not in a critical way. It's not that easy at the beginning because we are not used to it. We are used to think negative. We are used to judge. We are used to critical, to criticize other people. So therefore, this is a suggestion for meditation and action in this coming week. So God willing that you'll have Shabbat Shalom, and we'll be in touch.